Welcome back to another episode of the Biggest Little Fitspo podcast. If you're new here, welcome. I'm your host, Samantha. This podcast is based out of the biggest little city, Reno, Nevada. My goal is to share the biggest little stories about local fitness enthusiasts to keep you motivated as you traverse your fitness goals this year and in future years to come. And here's a disclaimer. I am by no means a doctor, a nutritionist, or a certified personal trainer. I am sharing my own personal knowledge of what has worked or not worked for me, and the guests you normally hear are doing the same. Always consult with a doctor, nutritionist, or certified personal trainer before trying any of these methods for yourself. On today's episode, I'm coming to you all on my own. No interview today. I thought it was important to interject here and there amid the interviews and bring you solo conversations, elaborating, explaining, or just adding some tidbits about fitness so you can be more informed as you listen. First, I want to start off by saying that the majority of the interviews I have thus far, published and not published, are of bodybuilders. I don't want my podcast to just be about that, so just know in the future there will be other types of fitness interviews. And don't be discouraged if you hadn't heard your niche yet. Let's dive into the main part of today's episode. Why is it important to move your body? Well, I've got a bunch of different reasons, so let's just start chugging away through them. The first is we're not meant to be sedentary. We're meant to move. We have legs that flex and bend. We have arms that do the same. We have fingers to grip and grab and pull. So there really is no excuse for not being able to move. There are countless athletes with varying levels of, we'll call it lucky fins, and they still manage to absolutely crush their fitness. Athletes with both legs, one leg, or no legs. Athletes with one arm, no arm, and the list can go on and on. There are athletes with no illnesses, diseases, or lucky fins, and then there are athletes with visible and non-visible diseases. All this to say there are no excuses why you can't get up and go do something. Go for a walk. If you can walk for 1 minute today, great. Maybe try a minute and a half tomorrow. Go pick up a regular drinking water bottle today. Tomorrow, try a gallon water bottle and use that as weights. The point is, do something. And then tomorrow, do a little more. Again, do what works for you, and if you need more solid advice or a plan, talk to a trainer or a doctor. Another great thing about moving your body is that it produces endorphins. And if you've seen Legally Blonde, Reese Witherspoon's character, Elle Woods, states why endorphins are good perfectly.
Exercise gives you endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. Happy people just don't shoot their husbands. They just don't.
So, in addition to that, endorphins do so much. Again, I'm by no means a professional, but a quick Google search will tell you quite a bit. They act as analgesics. Analgesics? Did I pronounce that right? I have no idea. But that means they diminish the perception of pain and they produce feelings of euphoria. When you're happy, you don't shoot your husband. When you're happy, you don't wallow. And when you're happy, the world's just a little brighter. When I'm happy, with endorphins being the source of that happiness, I don't succumb to feelings of inadequacy. I don't question my purpose here on earth. When I'm smashing it in the gym, I feel like a certified badass who can take on the world. Do I need to push big weights and, in the words of Team Flex, lift fucking heavy to get there? No. Movement above my norm is what gets me there. I have a 9-to-5 desk job. I sit a lot. So for me, going on a walk on my lunch gives me endorphins. When I moved in March of 2021 and December of 2021 and April of 2020 and countless other times, lifting boxes and the back and forth from residence to U-Haul gave me endorphins. You don't need to run a marathon. You just need to move. So why do I bring this up? Well, with all of the surging of the sickness that's happening, the best defense you have against whatever catchable ailment is circulating is keeping yourself healthy. Choose proper nutrition. Choose to move your body. What proper nutrition is for you will certainly not be proper nutrition for me. Our body types are different. Our height is different. Heck, I'm female and you might be a male. Our muscle development is different. Muscle burns more calories than fat. Our muscle type and not muscle types, but muscle development is different. You may have, 80% muscle and I might have 60% muscle. Obviously that's not like a thing. It could be, but I don't know. But point is, muscle sizes and quantities will vary. Sure, even if you're healthy, you're still able to get sick, but how long you're sick will certainly be affected. When I was on my bikini prep, I was honestly the healthiest I've ever been. I don't recall getting sick at all. I didn't catch a cold, I didn't get the flu, I didn't get food poisoning. I was eating whole, nutritious foods. Nothing was processed, or if it was processed, it was minimal, like stevia. I was quote unquote sick because of an ulcer, but that was due to an internal personal factor, stress. And we'll talk about stress on another episode. Moving your body also positively affects your mental health. I'm no expert, but I have a couple of friends who know a thing or two about a thing or two. One of my good friends from high school, Christina, was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and she started a podcast talking about that and other mental health issues. I went on her podcast a couple months ago and talked about mental health and bodybuilding. I'll link that episode in the show notes for you guys to go check it out. My other friend Taylor has her own mental health platform, The Stigma Stops Now. Follow her on Instagram at Gingy Snaps Photos, or find the group on Facebook, Stigma Stops Now. It's a great community to share struggles and wins with mental health. I worked with Taylor recently for a collaboration for Stigma Stops Now, and I can't wait to share it with you guys. Be sure you're following both of us on Instagram. And Christina's podcast, in case you're interested, is the Neurodivergent Brain Dump Podcast, or the NBD podcast for short. And she's recently rebranded a little bit, and now she's basically just using NBD. So life's a little NBD, a little more NBD. It's super cute. So go check it out. Even though I don't have ADHD, at least I don't think I do. I've never been tested or diagnosed, so who knows? But a lot of the tips and tricks that she shares to help you get through the day or work on your mental health are really freaking helpful. So go give that a listen and try out some methods for yourself if they sound good. Again, always consult with professionals before doing any of this. I know I'm my best self when I'm working out and moving my body. I love seeing the development and growth of the muscle. I love when I'm able to complete either more reps with the same weight or especially increase the weight in a movement. So going from like 5 pounds to 8 pounds and crushing that's a really good feeling. I also love when all my clothes fit as they should. Now, I'm not saying buy smaller clothes and call them your hashtag goals. I have clothes that fit me when I was at my best self and when I was at my personal best weight. So where am I today? Not there. I'm not at my healthiest weight. I'm not at my healthiest potential. I feel pressure and strain on my knees, on my ankles, in my arms. I feel sluggish. I feel like I'm carrying a heavy backpack. Where when I was on my bikini prep and actually made it to show day on August 16th of 2019, I felt my best. I looked my best, and where I was a perfect weight and frame to build more muscle on. And that's where I want to get to. But I'm in no rush to do that. I mean, sure, there's a rush before I die, but I'm not committed to another bodybuilding show right now. I'm just committed to lifting weights and getting healthy again. And like I said earlier, watching the muscles grow and develop is so freaking cool to see. So for now, my message today is get up and move. It's your best line of defense. And like I mentioned earlier, I don't just want one style of fitness represented here on my podcast. I'd love to also interview yogis, martial arts people, runners, power lifters, just to name a few. There are so many ways you can move your body, and I'm interested in hearing all about it. If you or someone you know here in Reno, Sparks, Tahoe, Carson area would be a great fit to let me interview them and then work out together, you guys should totally reach out. Send me a DM, direct message, on Instagram at BLF Podcast, short for Biggest Little Fitspo Podcast, or send me an email at biggestlittleFitspoPodcast@gmail.com. I'll have both linked in the show notes for ease of access. So with that, another short and sweet episode for you guys. Thanks so much for listening. It's really cool to be able to share my thoughts with you guys and interviews as well. I really hope you've been enjoying them. And if you have, let me know. Share on social media, screenshots of you listening to the podcast, or even better, go write a review on whatever platform you listen on. I think you can do that now on Spotify. You definitely can on Apple Podcasts. So that'd be pretty rad if you post a review and then other people get a chance to hear it and see it, and maybe that'll help them with their fitness goals too. If it gets big enough, I might be able to start interviewing other people who aren't local to the biggest little city and interview people elsewhere. With that, thanks so much for listening. Go back and listen to all the other episodes if you haven't already, and check out the workouts that I've done with Shelby, Nav, and Teresa on my YouTube channel. youtube.com/itsasam thing. And again, that's basically my moniker on almost every social media platform. So if you search It's a Sam Thing, chances are it'll be me. There's a couple where it's not, but we can cross that bridge if we get there. So anyway, thanks so much for listening, guys, and I'll talk to you real soon.